So Tara Hopkins was born in New Zealand and moved to Australia by herself when she was 18 years old. She is an actor and has been in a number of feature films and movies, Scooby Doo, Gettin and St Andreas. She has also played in the TV series Beastmaster, The Outsiders and Mortified. Tara studied at the Actors Conservatory in Brisbane and graduated in 2010 with an advanced diploma. She continues to attend classes with her agent, Vox Talent. She is a mother of one, has explored Peru and a few other countries and believes that every different nation has something positive to offer. She currently drives a mobile food van to pay her bills. However, she desires to leave a mark somehow in her lifetime to help bring about a positive change in perspective and consciousness. She's very passionate about thinking outside the square and believes in focusing on solutions rather than problems. Tara's frustrations lie with history repeating itself time and time again, and she would love to figure out a way to contribute new ideas that can not only be heard but listened to. Her long-term goal is to create freedom in our minds, hearts and souls and let go of all that does not serve us anymore. So Tara, what's important to you in life?
Finding your own truth, love.
So finding your own truth, love.
And being kind to one another.
Being kind to one another. What else is important to your life?
Support.
Support.
Family.
Family.
Values. Personal values.
Personal values.
Morale.
Morale.
I think the most important thing for me is finding your life purpose and living it.
Finding your life's purpose. And living it. So what else is important to your life?
My personal life would be my son.
Yeah.
And doing my bit for society.
Doing your bit for society.
And standing up for what I believe in.
Standing up for what you believe in.
Maintaining inner peace.
Maintaining inner peace. There's a nice presupposition in that.
Yeah.
Maintaining inner peace, yeah. And what else is important to your life?
Helping others and their mental health.
Helping others in their mental health.
Yeah, as in, being a support. Like everyone goes through things, and if they haven't been through them before, they have no idea how to react, or if they're reacting in a sane manner, I guess, and listening and supporting and giving unbiased guidance.
Listening, supporting, and giving unbiased guidance.
Yeah. And I think it's really important in life to be non-judgmental of other people, because everyone's lived a different life.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Mm. It's really true. Non-judgmental of others. So what else is important to you in life?
Creating different, I guess, perspectives.
Creating different perspectives.
Looking at things from all angles, not just your own.
looking at things from all angles, not just your own.
Teaching my child correct behaviour.
Teaching your child correct behaviour.
And all the values like that I have on this piece of paper.
And all these above values.
Because I think that's the most important thing what we teach our children, because they're the ones that are going to grow up and teach their children, and they're the ones that can change history.
Absolutely.
And it's our job to bring them up with healthy minds and to be confident in themselves and to stand up for what they believe in.
So it's our job to bring up children with healthy minds.
Yep.
And stand up for what they believe in. Yep.
And I think it's also important to understand that competition between people is, well, just my opinion, competition between people can be healthy depending on the competition and depending on, you know, there is such a thing as healthy competition and unhealthy competition. I guess healthy competition makes you strive towards your own personal goals in a healthy way. Unhealthy competition, I probably don't even want to touch on that.
All right, we won't go there. Okay, so we've got like a list of values, yeah? So now what I'd like to do is to go through and just have a look at each one at a time. Yeah, we do that. So we started out with the top value here, like with the first one you gave us, which is like finding your own truth. So what do you mean by that? Well, finding your own truth.
Your truth could be different to another person's. It depends on what life you've had and the way that you see the world. And it could be different to, I guess, somebody who has got loving parents and dedicated themselves to their children and taught them and loved them would have a different truth to a person who had the exact opposite of that. That doesn't mean that they have, that doesn't mean, I guess, that they're necessarily their truths would be, everyone's truth is different to them and it's different to how they live their life. So it all depends on who brought you up and what they've told you. But, you know, I think ultimately we decided to come here before, well, obviously we were born, and we decided what we were here to do. And I think you choose your family because of that. So your family has got a lot to do with why you're here, and you learn a lot of your lessons from your family. And I think finding your own truth is, I guess, why you're here and what you're meant to do and how you're meant to help the world in this lifetime.
So why you are here in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So what is truth?
It's personal to the person living their life. It's truth is real.
What is real? Truth is what is actually real.
What is real to you.
What is real to you.
Yeah.
Is there like a universal truth that's real to everyone? Like an ultimate truth?
There are facts, but it depends. That gets a bit tricky and a bit hairy because it depends on what you believe in. So that might not be your truth. It depends. Like everyone, I guess it depends on I guess getting back to the parents and like what they've instilled in you, it depends on what you believe in. So two people could have completely different truths about life, and because it's what they believe in and what they think.
So is it possible there's actually a truth which is like beyond belief?
Of course, I do believe in one. However, in the world that we're living in today, there's thousands of different truths. As I said, it depends on the individual and the life they've had as to how they view their life. I do think that there is a particular way that we should all go, but that we're so far from that being our world right now. It's ridiculous.
So, Tara, what is love to you?
It's how you express how you feel, physically, mentally, emotionally. There's different kinds of love. There's the way you love your child, there's the way you love your partner, there's the way you love your friends. But love, the most important love is the way you love yourself. I'm a big believer that more and more people need to love themselves more and learn how to love themselves more, because I think that's the main person you're supposed to love first, because if you love yourself, then you're able to extend that love outwards.
So how do we do that process of loving self?
Affirmations. But you've got to believe it too. You have to look at yourself. Like, I find that mirror affirmations are great. Like, if you look at yourself and you tell yourself things, because at first, if you don't believe it, you're telling yourself a lie. But eventually, if you do it every day and you keep telling yourself that and telling yourself that, you're only going to start to believe it.
What do you mean a mirror affirmation? What, you stay in the mirror?
Yeah,
or?
you look at yourself in the mirror.
And say...
And you keep saying you're positive, I love myself, or whatever it might be, whatever you want to believe about yourself, you keep telling yourself that all the time.
And what's important to you about love?
Well, it's what makes the world go round. Oh, we wouldn't survive without it. It's proven that a baby will die if it's not loved when it's born, so we need love to survive. That's almost one of our life forces.
So it spins the world.
Yeah.
Spins the world.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned like being kind to one another.
Oh, I think that's really important.
Kindness.
Yeah, because what you give out, you get back. So if you are kind to everybody that you meet, you've got to be kind to yourself. You know, you always have to. I feel like, you always have to have enough for yourself, because if you don't have enough, you can't give what you don't have. So you be kind to yourself and love yourself, and therefore you have everything you need to be kind to another person. And it also shows a good example. You do it to someone else, they might pass that on to another person. So, I think it's really important to be the example of what you want other people to be.
Wasn't it Gandhi who said, like, be the example that you want the world to be or something?
Probably.
Yeah. Support. Why is support important to you?
Because without it, you can, I guess, slip through the cracks. Support is really, really important to me, like in the world that we're living in at the moment, because I feel like we're in a lot of turmoil. And with, like, for instance, I think it's really important to support your friends. Like, from my personal experience, a lot of people don't want to know when you're having an issue, when you're having a problem, and they, will turn their back or close the door. I think that if you, can put yourself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from, it's a lot easier. And support doesn't necessarily have to be financial or anything. It could be just taking time out of your day to listen to somebody else and help that way. A husband and wife scenario, or wife and wife, or husband and husband scenario, there's a support in that as well. You do things for them and they do things for you, and it's like a team effort. And I think it's having somebody to lean on always makes you feel a little bit more secure that you can handle anything. Support kind of comes into being kind to one another. We're all here, we're all living in this world together. You know, we all bounce off each other. We're all interconnected in some way. And yeah, it all goes together.
Loving self, kind to one another.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. Why is family important to you?
Because I think that you choose them to learn a lesson. I don't necessarily think you have to like your family. I think a part of you always loves them because they granted your passage, you know, here onto this earth. But they also are here to challenge you, and you know, so that you've picked them to learn like life lessons and what you need to learn to get through for your life purpose. They're here to help you, and you know, a lot of families, like a lot of people's families, I guess, challenge them in ways. You know, and sometimes, you know, the outcome of things might not be fair, or, you know, like a child might go through trauma or whatever it might be, but the outcome of that, there's always a reason behind it, because if it comes from your parents and your family, you picked that. You already knew, my opinion, or it's always my opinion, but I feel like you already knew what you were going into because you chose it for yourself. So families are not only there, you know, it depends on the family you're born into. Some families support you, some families don't, you know, and I guess whatever one you pick, it shows you whatever outcome you're meant to have, you will have.
So what I'm hearing is like you take responsibility for where you are.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Like this is a situation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm going to take responsibility for where I am, make
Yeah.
some acceptance, and that gives me like a foundation or a starting point to move on.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Families are there, yeah, to learn. But in saying that, I have raised my son in a different way. Like, I have raised him in the way that I wanted to be raised myself. So, and I believe he picked, you know, I had to go through what I went through, you know, and then I had him, and then he picked me for those reasons, because that's his life, and that's, you know, what he needs to, the surroundings that he needs to grow up in.
What do you mean by morale?
Well, not morals, but morale, as in how, like at work, like if you've got a job, you know, like how much effort you actually put into that job. If you care or if you don't care. To me, you know, that it's more morale of yourself, like, you know, your efforts, and, you know, if you have a job and you don't really care and you do a half pie job, to me that's quite low morale in the workplace, I guess, but you're bringing that on because you don't care. So to me, morale is, like, in a way, how much you care about what you do and how much effort that you put in.
So do you have a way to raise morale?
Well, you have to raise your own expectations of yourself, and it all starts with you. You know, you can raise your own morale, but then other people, I guess, can do it for you. That's why I'm saying be an example of what you want others to be, because someone can learn something from you. If you have a high morale and you're happy and you always put the right amount of effort into your workplace, and you also try to raise the morale of other people, you know, just by encouraging them and saying they're doing a good job. Yeah.
Good job, Tate. Good job.
That's it, yeah.
And so what's this bit about, like, finding your life's purpose and living it?
Well, I feel like we're all here for a reason. We've all chosen to come here. We've all chosen to come here to learn lessons. Some people come here to learn lessons just personal, just for them. Other people have, I feel like they've got a greater purpose. They're out searching to make the world a better place. They can see what it lacks. They can, you know, they can see how things can improve. You know, sometimes and I feel, you know, your life purpose is whatever you're most passionate about. So,
so your purpose is related to what you're
passionate about, like a service, like creating, you know, a service for other people. Because I feel, you know, like your job is like a service. You know, like your job is helping. So I feel like whatever you're passionate about. Should be the job that you pick, because I feel that's what you're supposed to do. as long as the passion's still there, there's a fire, I guess, burning for it, so there's a purpose. And so your passion can be, I guess, like a clue as to what you're here for.
So your passion gives you like a clue as to what sort of like environment you should go for,
yeah,
or
I
what
guess
job you should go for.
Or if you're passionate about, like for instance, I am passionate about finding truth, and like not just in people's lives, but like in our country's government. For my whole entire life, I've always thought that I was here to do something and didn't know what, and I had religion pushed on top of me, and I never, even as a child, I never quite ever believed what they were saying. It's something that's already there. It's something that you already have. It's something that's already inside of you waiting to come out. And when sometimes you don't know what your passion is, but when you're put in a situation or you think about something and you feel very strongly about that, and you want to help, and you want to do something, and you want to make a change, and you want to make it better, that's the passion that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the passion that you have with your husband or your wife or your whatever. I'm talking about wanting to make the world a better place, passionate. That's where I feel like you should find what you are here to do. Like your life's purpose would be something close to what you're passionate about, and passionate about changing, and passionate about making an improvement on.
So life's purpose and passion are related.
Yeah.
So what's important to you about doing your bit for society?
Well, we're all here, I guess, to help one another. I don't believe in society, and as in the way that the old people brought about society. I'm talking more so just about how we all have to live together in the same place. I found that the olden day society was quite judgmental, and they told you what to do and what you couldn't do, and what was acceptable and what wasn't acceptable. I don't believe in all that. I think that that's up to you, and society, it's just more the people that we all have to live together with, and and doing your bit for society just comes in with, we all don't know what our life purpose is straight away off the bat. Sometimes it takes a long time for us to even get anywhere near there. And so in the meantime, doing your bit for, like the jobs that you do, like whether... Like I drive a mobile food truck, that's my job that I do for society. I'm out there helping all these hungry people, get their food into their bellies. And I take pride in that, because that is what I've chosen to do in the meantime while I find something that challenges me more.
So why is it important for you to stand up for what you believe in?
Because in today's world, a lot of people are afraid to do that. A lot of people are afraid to speak up. And I think that if you're afraid to speak up, and if you don't speak your truth, then I feel like you're going to be a bit miserable and feel like you're stuck in a lie. Or if you have to live a way that's not truthful to you, I feel like that's not going to contribute to your happiness in any way, shape or form.
And is it possible for many different people to express what they believe in, to express themselves, and yet do it in a way which creates harmony?
Yes. Yeah, I believe we haven't really touched on that yet. I feel like we're still living in a world of this is the way, and it's only the way. Like not with every individual, but with different religions and different, countries and everything. I feel like it's quite controlling. People want to control rather than listen. They want you to come to them. They want you to believe what they believe. They don't really want to have to listen to what you have to offer. You know, I've done a little bit of travelling, not as much as what I'd like, but I really, from the bottom of my heart, feel that every single nation, every single country has something really positive to offer. And if we took a bit of this country, a bit of this country, a bit of this religion, a bit of this society, and, you know, I feel like we would find something with a bit more substance, I guess, than what we already have.
So what I'm hearing is listening is really important.
Yes.
Rather than sort of like telling,
Yeah.
it's like listening.
Listening. Yeah, because if you were talking, having a conversation with someone and someone's telling you something and then you're going, yeah, but blah, 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 that person feels like you haven't even listened to anything of what they're saying. And I see that happening a lot. And, you know, yeah, so I do. I believe that listening and acknowledging.
And acknowledging.
Yeah. And understanding. You know, you don't necessarily have to agree, but if you can listen, acknowledge and understand at least, you know, then after all of those things come through, you can compromise.
So we get listening, acknowledging, understanding, and somewhere around here I saw support.
Yeah.
There was support, love of self, love of others, being kind to self, being kind to others, care, passion, it's good. I like that. It's really good.
Thanks.
So then you have a value like I'm maintaining inner peace.
Yep.
So how does one go about actually creating inner peace?
Believe it. All the power is in your mind. It's in your brain. It's you. What you believe, you are. So, like what I say with the mirror affirmations, if you want inner peace, but you don't feel it, because obviously it's something that you feel, but you've got to believe that you can actually achieve it. So, whatever you want, I'm a firm believer you've already got the tools within yourself to get anything that you want. And so all you have to do is believe that you have it. And if you believe that you have it and you don't really, you know, because you're not feeling it, you go back and you keep telling yourself. So eventually...
What sort of stuff would you tell? What would you say to yourself?
I am peaceful.
Oh, okay.
Or inner peace exists in me now, or something positive that has got, you know, like a positive affirmation that can just be replaced. Because if you tell yourself enough times, you do start to believe it. I feel like that's how people get brainwashed, you know, like they get told enough times, like they'll just start to believe it. Like people start to believe that they're not good enough because dad keeps telling them, or whatever it might be. You can reverse that, you know, yourself.
And so you say to yourself, you did good.
Yes, exactly.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Be happy.
Yes, that's it.
Relax.
Yeah. And maintain that, you know. So whenever you start feeling that you don't have that, go back to your affirmations and calm yourself. Breathing. That connects you to your life force. To me, that is the most important and easiest way to get back to relaxing, you know, not thinking about anything else but your breath. 100% guaranteed is going to get you to finding some kind of peace.
I like, very good. So we have helping others in their mental health, support, listening, supporting, yeah, keeps coming up again and again. Giving unbiased guidance.
Yeah.
What would be an example of unbiased guidance?
Unbiased would be listening to what the person has to say, and even though you either A, have lived it for yourself and don't and have an idea of what could be the outcome, or you're listening to what they're saying and you're hearing something very different from what they're telling you. Unbiased to me is listening to what they're saying and talking to them about what they're talking about, so putting yourself in somebody else's shoes or position and thinking about it from their perspective and giving advice from their perspective rather than from your perspective. if they ask from your perspective, by all means, give it, because those two things are completely different. You don't have to, I guess, you don't have to necessarily 100% believe that for your life, but it's not your life that we're talking about, it's their life. So
it's their life.
Yeah, and so I think if we all, are considerate enough to remember that, they're coming to you with something about their life, keep it about their life.
And then we have a value on non-judgment of others.
Yeah, I feel like that just happens every day, all the time. People are judging, and it's just over stupid things, things that I just don't believe that we can judge each other, because everyone has got a different perspective on things, and just because you don't think the same way as another person doesn't mean that you're wrong or they're wrong. Each to their own. There are no rules, really. When you think about it, it's what's right for you, and you learn to do something again or not to do something again because of the way that it made you feel.
That's cool. Which then brings us to creating different perspectives. So you had the ability, I hear, that you're able to step into somebody else's shoes or to be in your own shoes. So you had the ability to be able to hold multiple perspectives. So how do you do that?
Well, when intuition. You really got to, believe in it and trust in it, because if you believe in it and you trust in it, it opens up, I guess. Intuition.
Believing in intuition.
Believing in it to begin with, but everybody has it. Some people believe in it more than others. And that, I guess, comes into, especially when you're talking with other people, that comes into it a lot, especially with, and different perspectives, creating different perspectives. Just because you've lived your life one way and done it this way, doesn't necessarily mean it's the only way. Someone could come up to you and say, hey, well, I do it this way because of this, and you may have had a couple of problems or whatever with the way that you were doing it, but you just kept on doing it that way, and then someone comes along and says, hey, well, I do it this way, because of this reason, and you're like, I never thought about it that way. I feel open-mindedness kind of comes hand in hand with creating different perspectives. You need to have an open mind, and that goes a long, long way.
Open-mindedness. So the ability to look at things from all angles, not just your own. And then we have a value here on teaching your children correct behaviours.
Yeah, I do believe there's correct and incorrect behaviour. I'm not going to say right or wrong, because I don't know if I believe in that particular theory. But it's like I believe that you should be an example to your children too. So if you don't want them to do something, you can't go off and be the example and do what you don't want them to do, because children will do what you do. They're not going to not do it if you do it, So I think that, teaching your child respect and to love themselves and to be confident within themselves, you're only doing them big favours for when they get out into the world, and teaching them to be kind to one another, because they're our next lot of people that are going to be growing up and having to live in our society, and we want to make it the best for them as what we can, We kind of want to arm them with the things that they are going to require when they get out there. And we also want them to gradually make some kind of positive changes to the way we live. It starts with our kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So teaching children respect and love for themselves, confidence in themselves, being kind to self and to others. And making positive changes. Yeah, being a positive example. Yeah, and we all make mistakes.
You know, we all of us, you know, some things happen and we didn't intend them to happen, and that shows our children that we're only human, and that you know, and we, as long as we show, either if it was something that we feel bad about, we show remorse and we apologise. I think it's completely fine to apologise to your children and say, hey, I made a mistake. I have no problem with doing that with my son, because that lets him be aware that nobody is perfect, because none of us are perfect. We're all out here living our life the best that we possibly can, and we all make mistakes. You know, as long as we learn from those mistakes. You know, and if I've had to apologise to my child because I feel bad about something, you can be rest assured, guaranteed, that it's not going to happen again.
So the ability or the willingness to be able to apologise for your mistakes.
Yes.
That's actually really quite profound, that. And then we get to competition. Two types of competition. Like, healthy competition makes you strive, and unhealthy competition takes you in a different direction.
Unhealthy competition, to me, I kind of think we're all special, you know? We're all...
So what would be an example of unhealthy competition? This is just my opinion, all the sports, you know, the Olympics and everything, like countries, we're pitting countries like against each other and seeing who's the best, you know, and with all the rugby and all the football, who's the best, you know. I've got nothing against them playing and all the rest of it, nothing at all, but I do feel that competitiveness could be driven better in other places, rather than you say who's the best at sport. I don't know. It's like, I think that we could achieve the same results, you know, and the same patriotism and the same support for our country with fun games without the competitiveness, you know, like we're even pitting ourselves against New South Wales and Queensland, and, you know, who's better. And I guess for me, when it comes down to that kind of competition, who's better, it doesn't matter who's better, you know, like, and we spend so much, like, people get angry when, you know, countries lose and win. You know, it's not just about the people competing, it's all the people watching, and they get so caught up and so emotionally involved, and, you know, like, a loss for them could mean a bad week. You know, they're just in a bad mood for the rest of the week because we lost. You know, that to me is not healthy competition. That to me is just getting caught up in drama and the negative side of things, I guess. So what would be an example of healthy competition?
Healthy competition.
How could you turn football into a healthy competition?
Well,
or the way that's actually portrayed by the media.
It makes you strive, you know, to be better within yourself, I guess, you know. But I guess for me, it doesn't really matter who's the best at something. I think this is what it is all about. I don't really care who is the best. You know, the best is always going to change, you know. So really, as long as you're doing your personal best, that's all that matters. It doesn't have to be the best. You don't have to win all these competitions. You don't have to be better than other people. As long as you are the best for yourself, I think that's, you know, the most important thing.
Is that like playing the game?
Yeah, the game of life, I guess, yeah.
The game of life.
Yeah.
Good metaphor. Which takes us back to what's important to you in life.
Yeah.
So what have you learned from our conversation here this morning?
A lot about how I think. I believe a lot in truth. and about how, about how we should all strive, I guess, to find out why we're here. Yeah, I believe in truth and love and positiveness, and I think the negatives are there for us to learn from, but not to keep.
Yeah, truth, love, positiveness, and learn from the negative. Yeah,
because negatives are so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I don't feel like we can balance without positive and negative. That's kind of what keeps us balanced, in the yin and the yang.
Yeah, balance the negative, positive, and the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.